Now, rescue workers say they are searching every bit of hope for survivors under the rubble of a collapsed Florida apartment block. More than 150 people are still missing, with 9 confirmed to have died in Thursday's disaster. I've been speaking to David Begnaud, lead national correspondent from CBS News. I asked him if it was no longer being viewed as a rescue operation by those on the ground.
A lot of the family members will complain and tell you that they believe it has. Some people have said from the very beginning, like they felt like rescuers weren't moving with enough of a sense of urgency. The rescuers and the officials who are overseeing the rescue insist they're moving as fast as they can while also ensuring the safety of the rescuers. What's really interesting here, and look, I've covered earthquakes around the world and multiple disasters. What happened here immediately after the collapse is not that a bunch of people went on top of the rubble pile and started digging. They actually made the decision to go in through the garage and build what is a tunnel that is nearly 40 feet deep. And going through the bottom of the garage, they have already been able to recover the bodies of about 9 people. The officials insist this is still a search and rescue operation. It is not a recovery. Teams from Israel and Mexico have arrived, and they are helping U.S. officials. They're working 12-hour shifts, midnight to noon, noon to midnight. They refuse to give up at this point.
We're looking at some of the images there of the building, David, absolutely shocking. And there is now concern about building and construction in the area and I suppose across the whole state of Florida.
Listen, this is sending shockwaves at least up and down the Atlantic coast here on Florida, where you're having a lot of city officials and even people who live in these high-rise towers saying, hey, wait a minute, we need to take a look at our inspection records. And there was a report, by the way, back from 2018 where engineers took a look at this building and found some pretty significant cracks that they said warranted major improvements. But there was nothing in the report, according to engineers who looked at it, that indicated there was some kind of catastrophe. Nothing imminent that said, listen, you better fix this right now. But that report was done back in 2018. The Condo Association waited 3 years to start repairs. Repairs had begun on the top portion of the building, the roof, but a lot of people who have looked at basically the collapse that we saw on video and the 2018 report say it appears as though it all started from the very bottom where the collapse happened. There's at least one report in the New York Times from a man who says he was on the phone with his wife and she saw some kind of hole opening up near the pool. There's another actually interview that we did with a man who used to be the maintenance manager at that building back in the 90s who said that there was no sloping, so the water didn't drain like you would expect. It was pretty much flat ground, so he said there were multiple times where you'd go into the garage of the building and there'd be a foot or 2 of water just sitting there. Why is that relevant? Because you've got saltwater intrusion from the Atlantic Ocean. You've got this water that doesn't properly drain. You've got this engineer's report that found significant cracking. You put all of that together and experts say it's likely a combination of factors led to the horrific collapse of this building while these people were sleeping.
That was David Begnaud, a CBS correspondent, reporting there.